What's up guys, Anthony here today, and for those of you that are proud new owners of our Lancer Tactical Gen 4 or perhaps the brand new Zion Arms R15 Mark II, both of which come included with the brand new Nebula II MOSFET, which offers a wide variety of programming features and options, some of you newer players might find it a bit more confusing and overwhelming to program, so we're going to walk you through how to program your MOSFET and what each of the features does individually. So before we get started, I did want to clarify that the brand new Lancer Tactical Gen 4 and the brand new Zion Arms R15 Mark II share the exact same Nebula II MOSFET, so this programming guide will apply across the board to any model of the Gen 4 or of the R15 Mark II. However, if you are running the original Zion Arms R15 or the Gate Aster edition of our Gen 4, this programming guide will not apply. So simply to reiterate, any model of the Gen 4 or of the R15 Mark II with the Nebula II MOSFET can be programmed the exact same way. So to take you guys through the programming of your Nebula II MOSFET, you want to start off with the battery in the replica and no BBs or mag in the replica to prevent any sort of accidental discharges. So we'll pull the mag out. And now I want to show you the sequence of how to enter programming mode, but a very important note is that you want to make sure you start off with your replica's selector on the safe position. If you don't start in the safe position, it will not take you into your programming mode. So the sequence would be as follows. You'll start with your selector in the safe position, you're going to move it to the semi, and very quickly you're going to go from semi to full auto to semi to full auto and back to semi, in which case you should hear two distinct beeps letting you know you've entered programming. So I'll demonstrate the sequence for you guys now. And once again, you're gonna go from the selector being in safe to semi, and then very quickly to full auto, semi, full auto, and back to semi. So I'll do that for you now. And now with those two beeps, you know you've entered the programming menu. So now that you've entered the programming menu, you'll be able to cycle through the different options available for programming, and to do so, you'll simply click through it with your trigger and listen for the audible beeps. Once you get to the option you wish to be able to program, you're simply going to flip your fire selector over to full auto, letting the MOSFET that that's the mode you wish to program. And now, for example, we're going to show you how to program the different fire modes available to your individual selector positions, starting with the full auto. So once you've entered your program menu, you obviously can cycle through your different available options. When you hear the individual beep, that'll let you know that you're ready to program the full auto position of your selector. So I'm simply going to throw the selector over to full auto. That's telling the MOSFET that I wish to program the fire modes available for the full auto position. So when you hear the one beep, whether in full auto or semi, that's going to be the original factory setting, being full auto for full auto position and semi-auto for the semi position. So when you hear the one beep, that's your full auto. When you hear the two beeps, that's going to be semi-lock. So even in the full auto position, pulling the trigger once will give you only one shot. Go to the three beeps, that's going to be 3 round bursts, which will give you 3 BBs per trigger pull. And pull the trigger one more time. That'll give you 4 beeps, which will be 5 round bursts, which will give you 5 BBs per trigger pull. So once you've found the available position that you want to program into, you simply press and hold your trigger until you hear 2 audible beeps letting you know you've programmed that option. Once you hear those 2 beeps, the MOSFET will automatically take you out of the programming mode and you'll be ready to fire. And now that we've shown you how to program your full auto position, we're going to show you how to program the available modes to the semi-auto position. So just like before, you'll enter your programming mode. That singular beep you hear will let you know that you're ready to program the available fire modes for the full auto position. So you'll click that trigger. You'll hear those 2 beeps, which will let you know that you're ready to program the semi-auto position. Flip your selector over to full auto to choose that option. Now you're in the programming options for the semi-auto position. That single beep you hear will keep you in programming semi-auto shots. you click your trigger once, you'll get 2 beeps, which will put you into binary mode, which on a pull of the trigger will give you a shot, and on release of the trigger, you'll get a shot. Pull your trigger one more time. That'll give you 3 beeps, which will put you into AUG mode. AUG mode, upon a half press of the trigger, will give you semi. Upon a full press of the trigger, will give you full auto. Pull that trigger one more time. Those 4 beeps will give you sniper mode, which will simulate a slower cadence of fire and limit your semi-auto to a certain time frame of shots. Once you've found the option you wish to program, just like before, you'll press and hold that trigger until you hear those 2 audible beeps. At this point, you've programmed that option into your fire selector, and the MOSFET has taken you out of the programming menu, so you are now ready to fire. And now we're going to show you how to program your trigger sensitivity. So just like before, you'll enter your programming menu. Now that you've entered the programming menu, you'll cycle through the options until you get to the trigger sensitivity, which will be 3 beeps. That is 2. That is 3. That lets you know that you're about to program the trigger sensitivity. To select that, you'll throw your fire selector into full auto. And now you've entered the programming option for the trigger sensitivity. That first beep is your factory original setting, which is also going to be the most sensitive at 20%. So 20% of your trigger pull and you'll break off a shot. If you press the trigger once, you'll get 2 beeps. That's 40% of your trigger sensitivity. So you'll be able to pull your trigger back about 40% of the way before it lets off a shot. And then if you press it again, you'll get 3 beeps. That's going to be 60% trigger sensitivity, which at that point is going to be a little bit over halfway of your total trigger travel before you're able to shoot. Press it once more. You'll get 4 beeps, which is going to be 80% of your trigger sensitivity. That's going to be pulling it back nearly all the way before you're able to fire. And then you can press it once more. That'll give you 5 beeps, which is going to be 100% of your trigger sensitivity, which is allowing you to pull the trigger almost all the way to the rear in order to fire. We can go back to 1. Now back to 1 beep, which is going to be your factory setting, which is also the most sensitive. That in conjunction with the brand new flat face adjustable trigger on all of our Gen 4s, you're going to get a very sensitive trigger if you use those 2 in conjunction. And then you can select your option by pressing and holding the trigger. Those 2 beeps will let you know that you've programmed that option into your MOSFET, and the MOSFET will take you out of programming so that you are now ready to fire. Your next programming option is going to be adjustable precocking. Precocking is a more advanced feature recommended for advanced players and techs who know what they're doing. Now, if you're not sure what precocking is, after you fire that first shot, your gearbox will automatically wind itself up just a little bit to prepare for that follow-up shot. Now, what this will do is it'll make your gearbox seem and feel a lot more responsive, snappy, and give you a faster overall rate of fire in semi. So when you're spamming that trigger in semi, you will notice that performance increase. Keep this in mind though, precocking over an extended period of time will prematurely wear out your gearbox's internal components because you are adding additional stress. Now that I've given you a quick rundown of what precocking is, I'm going to show you how to program your different levels of precocking. So we're going to enter the programming menu. And what we're looking for is 4 beeps. So we're gonna pull the trigger until we get 4 beeps. Now you know that you're ready to select your adjustable levels of precocking. So we're gonna flip the fire selector to full auto to select that menu option. And now we are in the precocking adjustment. Now here you'll hear 1 beep, which is gonna be your level 1 factory setting, which is no precocking. Press your trigger once more. You'll get 2 beeps, which will be level 2. Press it one more time, and that'll be 3 beeps, which will be level 3. Now for a stock Lancer Gen 4, we typically recommend between level 2 and 3 for optimal performance and to avoid any unnecessary wear or unwanted malfunctions. Now if you are an advanced player or a tech, we do offer level 4, level 5, and level 6. Now, since this is a stock Lancer Gen 4, I'm gonna go for level 3. And once you've found the option you wish to program, you'll simply press and hold that trigger and listen for your 2 audible beeps. And now you know you've selected that programming option and the MOSFET has taken you out of the programming menu and you are now ready to fire. And once again, to reiterate, precocking is an advanced feature. So if you do plan on using precocking with your stock Lancer Gen 4, we do recommend level 2 to 3 at the most. Level 4, 5, and 6 are really only recommended for those advanced players or airsoft techs who are going to be doing a lot of internal modification, as any level of precock will add additional and unwanted stress to your internal gearbox components. So please make sure at the end of your gameplay sessions that you go back and set it back to level 1 to try and preserve and extend the lifespan of your gearbox. And the last feature we're going to go over is active braking. Active braking is your Nebula II ETU system telling your motor to stop spinning after each individual shot in semi-auto. And now we're going to show you how to program your active braking. So we're going to enter the programming menu. And we're looking for 5 beeps. So we're going to pull that trigger until we get 5 beeps. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're at the option that we wish to program. We're going to flip the fire selector to full auto to select that one. And now we're in the active brake menu. So that first beep is going to be for on, which is the factory configuration for your Nebula ETU. 2 is off, but in order for your Nebula 2 to function properly, it is required to be on. So we're going to go back to on, 1 beep, and then we're going to select that one by holding down the trigger. And now that we've programmed the active brake to be on, your ETU system has taken you out of programming and you are ready to fire. So because the Nebula 2 has an optical sensor, active brake is a setting that needs to be turned on for it to perform properly. We only recommend turning active braking off if you are a very, very experienced airsoft tech who knows exactly what they're doing. For 99% of the airsoft players out there, active braking is not a setting that you need to touch because it comes switched on from the factory. We just went over all of the programming options for your Nebula 2, and as you can see, the Nebula 2 is a huge step up from the Nebula 1, making it a very powerful tool to fine-tune and program your AEG to play exactly how you want to play. Hopefully this walkthrough has helped you navigate your programming menus a lot easier. As of right now, the Nebula 2 is available in our entire lineup of Lancer Tactical Gen 4s and these Iron Arms R15 Mark IIs. If you're looking to get one for yourself, head on over to any one of our Lancer Tactical retailers and pick one up today. My name is Anthony, and thanks for watching.